When I first saw this petition, I did actually facepalm. I mean, when I saw this, I just did think to myself, what the hell is this? Anyways, the title is Target. Withdraw Grand Theft Auto 5. This sickening game encourages players to commit violence again and kill women. Well, first off, let's start with the flaw with that particular, statement. In-game characters may look like women. They may possess a lot of the features that women possess. However, you forget the fact that they are not women. They are programming code and pictures put on to a game engine. They're essentially DirectX 3D, just models, really. It's all there really is to characters in video games. Non-playable characters and even playable characters are just essentially programmed models. I can literally go onto MCA and prove this to everyone. It is a game that encourages players to murder women for entertainment. Well, first of all here, let me just put it straight. Anything in the game you can put a bullet in, and it encourages you to put a bullet in pretty much, well, anyone. And to say that this is exclusive or even largely, that the women in this game, apparently because for some reason they are women, are, subject to this largely or even mostly, is, to be honest, a little bit, well, I should say weird, because this has been going on in, all kinds of other games. I mean, young black men in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas are, shot all the time like those drug dealers, and they end up dropping money. So, I think it's a little bit, I think this is quite indicative of many people where they see, they can see violence towards white women literally everywhere, and then they can just ignore violence towards literally everyone else. The incentive is to commit sexual violence against women. First of all here, again, they're not women, and I don't think it's even possible to commit sexual violence against them in the game. Then abuse or kill them to proceed to get health points. Okay. And target as stalking as promoting it for your eczema stalking. So what's your point? This is Grand Theft Auto 5. This game that after various sex acts, players are given the option to kill women by punching her unconscious and killing her with a machete, battle guns, to get their money returned. Well, first of all, you forgot the fact that these are, well, I don't know, something we like to call non-playable characters. They are not real. And, yeah, like, if you look at the crime statistics that we've had since the 1930s to now, these games have done such a good job at grooming, people to commit acts of violence. They've done such a good job at it that, we've had epidemics of, violence here in Australia directly connected to the release of Grand Theft Auto 5. Please, Target, we appeal to you as women survivors of violence, including women who have experienced violence in the sex industry, to immediately remove this game from sale. Well, I have sympathy for the fact that you were subject to violence, but I don't see how this has anything to do with Grand Theft Auto 5. And here's literally a clip, that's on YouTube, you can watch it if you like, but she refers to this clip as misogyny. Now, here's the important thing here. Misogyny can only exist, how to put this, women can only be subject to misogyny, not non-playable characters. And by trying to humanize, non-playable characters and claiming that they can be subjects of misogyny really is, to be honest, logically unsound. And honestly, I do have a lot of sympathy for these people, because it does appear they were subject to a lot of these things. And she goes on about how, games like this are grooming yet another generation of boys to tolerate violence against women. Well, first of all here, a lot of people have been pretty, intolerant of violence. I mean, our society as a whole, you know, jumped on Ray Rice even though he didn't initiate the violent conflict. You've got, you know, people like in Australia and in New Zealand spending massive amounts of money to incarcerate people who have committed acts of domestic violence. You have people calling in every day to report it. So I don't think that, you know, this generation of men, or even the next generation of men, are going to be tolerant of these type of things. So I really just see this as more or less just an attack on something that they just don't like, rather than it is an actual plea, you know, to remove something that is actually harmful. I think that this particular petition really is just poorly thought out and badly reasoned. And it really just does seem that it's just going to go down, you know, like that she's blind to violence towards literally everyone else except women. And I think she should also keep in mind that police officers in this game, some of which are men, you know, just also men and just people like that in general, like literally everyone else in these video games is also subject to violence and being shot. And I don't see how, you know, I really just find it weird and stupid how this all of a sudden is a problem when it happens to white women. It really just does seem to be really, I dare say, sexist. I know some people are going to probably send me death threats for making this video, and are probably going to flag this channel and post hate comments, but, you know what, I'll just think I should say what I've got to say, really. And, yeah, I might put some little tidbits at the end of this. So I thought to myself, well, why don't we take a quick look at the information behind violent crimes and the release of video games. During about late 2004, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, I believe, one of the best sellers of all time, was released sometime around maybe here, and it was released on October 2004. Now you can see crime has been on an incline even before the release of the game, and it also took a climb during 2006. Some would attribute this to the actual success of the game, but here's something interesting. It takes a dive, a slow dive, even after release of the game. And just before the release of Grand Theft Auto 4, also another pretty decent seller, it takes an even sharper dive in 2008. When you go into 2009, it just keeps taking a dive. And this is before even the release of Grand Theft Auto 5, and it just takes yet another dive. I don't have any information on 2004 statistics, but these are the statistics, you know, the estimated number of offences, you know, from the Federal Bureau of Statistics. This might not apply to, well, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Now, this might not apply necessarily to Australia, however, generally here, most first world countries like, for example, Australia and the United States are pretty similar. I mean, we join in on their wars, so I think it's pretty fair to say that, you know, these statistics would probably also apply to Australia. I might be wrong, I might not be, but I just want to show that, you know, if you live in the United States, and most of my audience do, you know, people are saying that these games groom people to become violent. Well, I think the Federal Bureau of Investigation has a very different opinion on that. Anyways, guys, yeah, I just thought I might show you a few statistics if it interests you, and, yeah, if you didn't know already, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas sold 17 million copies on the PlayStation 2. And the rise in crime was about something in the range of about maybe a few thousands after its release. And then from there it went up quite a bit. So I don't know. There might just be a time when crime went up. So I'll let you guys come to your own conclusions. This is just, you know, my findings so far. So yeah, see ya.